Hey Guardians, I just want to let everyone know that I do have both a Twitch and a Twitter, and I'm very active on both. Feel free to come give me a follow on both, links in the description. Hey everyone, this footage that you're seeing was me just kind of looking over the Guardian games, guns for this year. I did this live on stream, and this is something I try to do whenever we get new guns, whether it's a new season, a new DLC, new weapons for events like Guardian games. I try to sit down when I'm on stream and just look them over, give my impressions on them. So if that's something that you want to tune in for, maybe give your own thoughts in chat, then please check the description for my Twitch. But for now, we'll go ahead and get into the video. Before we call it stream, let's take a minute to take a look at these new weapons here for Guardian games. I think these are all of them. I guess we'll just start with the new Trace. I'm just gonna actually close Destiny while we do this. So the Trace, Arc Trace Rifle, this is the new Guardian Games weapon, of course. Eddy Current, Dynamic Sway, Perfect Float, Recycled Energy, Triple Tap, Hipfire Grip, Overflow, Detonator Beam, Jolting Feedback, Killing Tally. I'm not seeing a lot for PvP on this thing. Like maybe Hipfire Grip for like RDM's shenanigans with, I don't know, maybe Harmony or Killing Wind. Potentially maybe Killing Tally or maybe Detonator Beam, depending on how many shots you actually have to land with the Trace. I haven't tried this in PvP yet. For PvE, though, I mean, Trace Rifles, unless you're on, like, what's it called? Cenotaph Warlock, I feel like, are kind of a hard sell, just because they don't really do a lot that primaries don't do. And it's kind of like, do you want to use one of these in PvE? Or do you want to use, like, I'm also going to zoom in a little bit. Do you want to use, like, one of these in PvE? Or do you want to just use like an area denial GL, a fusion rifle, a rocket sidearm, so on and so forth? Um, but I mean, hey, for arc builds, I guess maybe recycled energy or jolting feedback, even like overflow with jolting feedback. I mean, jolting feedback's a great perk, and I can imagine it would work really well on arc trace, just because this is, of course, a sustained damage perk, and that's exactly what these weapons are. Outside of that, I mean, obviously overflow with like killing tally, maybe detonator beam, something like that. Interesting stuff, but nothing I'm really super stoked on. I don't know why it zoomed in here too, but whatever. Hullabaloo, this is the heavy wave frame. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been impressed with this thing. Um, I mean, it doesn't one shot in PvP, and it just I mean, GLs are DPS weapons. Like even like a wave frame. I mean, you have like one for all or like chain reaction, but to be honest, if you're in, whatever sort of activity, maybe GMs or something like that, where you would use a heavy for crowd control, I still think you're just better off going with what's it called? An LMG. Um, Maybe the one place this might be interesting would be like the servitor boss in Vespers, with like Envious Arsenal or Envious Assassin with Cascade. But outside of that, I mean, there just isn't a lot here where I'm like, yeah, that looks good. And admittedly, part of it is just like the archetype, right? Like wave frames, in a heavy slot. Not a lot going for them in really anything that I can think of. Um, if this were just a normal heavy GL, then hey, Envious Assassin or Envious Arsenal or Envious Assassin with Cascade Point, that would be great. But outside of that, I just don't really care. Taraxippos, I think this is a lightweight scout. Yeah, I know these got something of a buff. So, I mean, I guess we'll check like E2 Foundry here to see if like Precision Instrument does anything to it. I don't imagine it does. So yeah, I guess like if your target's below tier 3, you can get an extra body shot in there, but how often are you going to be fighting an opponent with less than tier 3 resilience? Probably not very often these days. Lightweight scouts, I'm just kind of like, eh. 0.9 second TTK. Are you going to use that? Or are you going to use like the hung jury with box breathing, let alone like a rapid fire scout with precision instrument like a Fang of Ute, or what is it, Unworthy, I think is the dungeon scout that also it's a rapid fire with PI. Or just use like Jade Rabbit, probably the easy pound for pound, the easiest scout rifle to use in the game. Now, if you did want to use this in PvP for whatever reason, I mean, I guess maybe high ground, right? 2 crit, 2 body at tier 7 to tier 10, tier 6 and under, 3 crit. So maybe. Otherwise, explosive payload if you want to be a douchebag. Kill clip. Kill clip's probably the best overall option here. 0.6 second TTK, very fast. 3 crits. So I would probably go with kill clip if you're going to use this in PvP for whatever reason. Then maybe like probably Lone Wolf, honestly, just for the extra aim assist. I mean, keep away or Zen moment would be fine. I feel like keep away is kind of overkill given that even at base, 69 meters of range, you really need a whole hell of a lot more than that. Zen moment would be okay for the flinch resistance, but genuinely, I think Lone Wolf is probably your best option here. So probably Lone Wolf kill clip with, I don't know, probably like small bore, maybe a stability masterwork just to help you recoil. Or even maybe like a range masterwork with steady rounds, something like that. I don't know. For PvP, I'm not a fan of lightweight scouts. PvE, I mean, again, I'm kind of like, you have like 4 times the charm, right? Maybe with like, I don't know, explosive payload or hatchling or tear, I guess, if you're on like a strand build of some sort. But even I mean, you have explosive payload for PvE as well. I guess in certain circumstances, maybe high ground would be okay in PvE. But even PvE wise, I'm like, kind of like, probably not. I don't picture myself using that in PvE anytime soon. Then we're not going to talk about Heir Apparent. We all know what that does. Broken overshield LMG. The title, so I guess it's Arc now. No Void with recycled energy. Okay. So, I mean, PvE wise, probably Repulsor Brace with the stabilizing rounds or Demoralize, or recycled energy with destabilizing rounds, maybe Demoralize. Although for this perk, I think I would prefer it with a damage perk, so probably like Swash or maybe even Elemental Honing. PvP wise, there's not much here, to be honest. I guess like maybe, I know Lodge, Logistics Officer, was really liking his closing time under pressure roll, so maybe something like that. Maybe like To the Pain or Perpetual Motion with like Rangefinder. Swashbuckler if you're on like a melee build of some sort for PvP. But given that target lock is now like meta on SMGs again, like if you're using an SMG, it should have target lock. I still think this is kind of a hard sell. I would rather use like, I mean, this is a 720. I would still rather use like a keep away target lock immortal, right? For that matter, you have Shayura's with target lock. You have Unending Tempest with target lock. You have Multi-Mock. Feels really good with target lock. Recluse even feels good with target lock. So PvP wise, I mean, I guess Hake Breach Armaments. Hope you deal with some of those bolt charge weirdos. PvP wise, I would pretty well disregard this. PvE, like I said again, any of those combos I mentioned would probably be okay. I think that's it for these. So I noticed we have some more viewers coming in. I guess we could keep the stream going for a little bit longer. But we'll stop talking about the guns there.